Hey, what's going on, everybody? Got my day here of RECN stories. So, had a couple things I wanted to talk about. I posted a little bit earlier about them, but wanted to tell you guys a little bit about what I use my Fridays for, and then go through a couple of things that I'm working on. Also, just something extremely apparent to me right now is just pricing, contractor pricing. So I'm going through a couple of projects where I'm doing that. So I had some spreadsheets I was going to show you guys, just giving you my philosophy on it. It's a very different philosophy when you talk to a lot of people. A lot of people are go get 3 bids from contractors and then see what you get back. And I actually really like to put together my pricing and just tell my contractors, hey, I want it done for this. Tell me where my numbers are off if they're off, and break it down very specifically. This is what it is to hang a door. This is what it is to replace a window. And then if I'm off in that, we can have a conversation around that rather than having a conversation around the bulk number and just say, hey, you're a little bit higher than this guy was. Can you come down? And in the end, I think it works better for both the contractor and yourself. So we'll go through a little bit of that. But a little bit about my Fridays. So I use my Fridays the majority of the time. I like to be out in the field, checking out houses, going out with clients, things like that. But today is a little bit special because I am doing some reforecasting for all of my goals. So I'll walk you through a little bit of that. Actually, with my coach, I put together kind of 3 main rocks that I go through that I set all my goals towards. So the first one, what I do full time is sales, so real estate sales. So just to give you guys a little, see if I can turn this thing around here. Little snapshot. This is the notebook I use for all my sales stuff, and so I'll talk about the 3-month sprint there at the top. It's a little bit of a result of kind of just reforecasting right here. So if I look at my goal is 12 million in sales this year. Going through everything I've sold already, it's just about 6 million, and then under contract I've got 2.25 million, and then under listing agreement I've got 505,000. So gives me a total of $8,726,000. That's basically my pending or sold already. And the difference between my goal and where I need to be is 3,273,000. So basically, if I break that down over the next 3 months, I need to sell just over $1 million in real estate every month. So now I have to come up with a plan on how am I going to do that. Also, you'll notice, you might say, oh, 3 months only puts us at November 15th. But especially in the real estate world, you're always a month to a month and a half out from actual closing. So I want to close 12 million this year, which means that really my end of year is November 15th. And then you also have the holidays and everything coming up then. So all of my goals that you'll see are all set to November 15th. So a little bit different. It gives me a little bit of buffer time, as well as allowing me to really hit that goal and then maybe even exceed it. Because if I hit it by the 15th, I might have a couple more sales go through. So that's the first goal there. Just to give you an idea on the second one, as I'm looking through those, that's the biggest one that I'm kind of lacking right now. So I expected to be a little bit farther ahead at this point. I actually thought I could reforecast and go to 15 million or something. But I actually have a lot of work to do there. So that's where the majority of my activity over the next couple months is going to be. And then goal 2 is under my health. So I actually I'll post a link to something called the Wife Carrying Games. And I'm October 7th, I believe, I'm going up to Maine. And me and my girlfriend Callie are going to compete in that. So goal number 2 is to win the Wife Carrying Games. What I realized, actually, I had a pretty good lesson from trying to figure out what my fitness goal was going to be. I've always kind of had this idea that I want to weigh 190 pounds and have a 10% body fat. But in the end, what I really wanted was just to feel better. And so I wanted a goal that would help me to feel better, both with my mobility, flexibility, all of those things. And really what I ended up coming to is the Wife Carrying Game. So I'll post a link to that, a little video. Really fun competition. Anybody else wants to join, let me know. We'll get a couple hotels or something like that. So basically, if I look at where I'm right now, I've hired a personal trainer twice a week, and then I run twice a week in high-intensity interval training. And so my goal is 190 pounds at 10% body fat. Right now, I'm 190 pounds at 15%. So if you look at my goal right here, in terms of, I broke it down in how much fat and muscle I had. I have to drop 9.5 pounds of fat and gain 9.5 pounds of muscle in the next 3 months. So I can break that out there. And then the last one is creating $5,000 a month in passive income. So basically I broke down here, and this is pro forma, so we'll actually be making more than this. However, this factors in maintenance and a number of things. So this is like what my pro forma number is. So it is, for the 11 units that me and Brenton have, we'll be making each about $1,500 a month. For my Norman Avenue property, I make $1,350 a month. And at my Hagerstown property, about $800 a month. Mosher, which is another one that we'll talk about in the pricing, $600 a month. McCullough, about $250, and then another one that we're hopefully going under contract today to purchase is $500. So that's my $5,000 right there. So really, I have 2 action items here. It's just to finish our construction on Mosher, which is a 2-unit in Baltimore, and then buy Gilmore. So that's a little bit about my reforecasting. And so what I realized when I was thinking about where we are in the year and where a lot of people are, I actually watched a Gary Vee video about August and what August means for a lot of people. Over the last 2 months, I've had a lot of change. My girlfriend's moved in, we finished this house, a lot of things that have put me out of my normal activity for sales. And I realized that now is the time to buckle down for the end of the year. So I kind of implemented what I'm calling my 3-month sprint protocol, and would love for people to comment on here if it's something they'd be interested in. I'd love to get a group of people, maybe even a call every week to talk about who's doing a 3-month sprint and what that looks like and what it means for them. So for me, that means selling $1 million a month, which means I really need to buckle down and double down on my activity for that. I'm pretty good on my health. I think it's really the slow game right now of just doing those 4 workouts a week. And we'll see in a month or 2 if I have to reproject, do something different. But I'm confident that the tools and everything are there to finish that. And then for the $5,000 a month passive income, it's really just finishing those 2 projects. And so those are the biggest things that I'm looking at. So if anybody else wants to jump in on the 3-month sprint, it would be officially starting on August 15th and it would end November 15th. So before the holidays, Thanksgiving, everything, really kind of get your last breath out. So Andrew, I see you on there. We'll add you to the 3-month sprint. So if you can, on this video, pick 1 to 3 things that you would like to happen in the next 3 months and post them. So really just like a goal, like an end of the year goal. And I hope it resonates with everybody what I say about November 15th, because I think that's something I've learned through a lot of the people that I'm working around, is that the end of the year actually, it ends in November, maybe early December. And really, you think you have until December 31st, you don't have till December 31st. So I love projecting to November 15th. I think it really pushes us a little bit more. So that's a little bit about that. I also want to talk a little bit about what we call letting the 80% burn. So before I got on this Facebook Live, I just want to give you guys a little bit of a snapshot of what my notifications look like. I've got 50 Facebook notifications I haven't checked out, 9 Facebook messages, direct messages, countless LinkedIn messages, 26 unlistened to voicemails, and 66 unread texts. So that's a little bit about, it's something that I think I do really, really well, is kind of ignore everything that doesn't matter. Because right now I'm working on my projections, and then I'm also just working with my current clients of who can I get under contract this week, next week, and that's really my big focus. So that's a little bit what letting the 80% burn might look like. There's a ton of emails as well that I need to respond to, not urgent things, but things that can be taken care of this weekend or later tonight, something like that. But that's a little bit of snapshot into what my 80% looks like. I would love to hear what everybody else's 80% looks like. So what are you letting go by because you're really focusing on the top 20% of activities that will push forward your goal? I would love to hear what other people had that they kind of let go to the side because of that. But I think the more focused you can be, it's pretty incredible. So I'm going to talk a little bit about pricing. And so talking to Brenton and a couple other guys, I do my pricing very differently for contractors, as I kind of alluded to earlier. So I wanted to show you guys what it kind of looks like for me. So I get a little bit obsessive with Excel, and you probably can't read these, but just to give you an idea, this is for a 2-unit that me and Will Bowman are working on. So we've purchased it, we have a tenant downstairs, and we need to renovate the upstairs. So what I did was I broke it down into labor for each unit, and then into materials for each unit. And just to give you an idea, I like doing that because I like to control what my materials are. So I like to pick what my materials are. I like to get the discounts. There's something called the Home Depot bid program or the Lowe's QSP program, both of which, if you have over $1,500 of things that you're purchasing, actually I have one of those orders up right now, they'll give you a discount just for running it through that program. So I got anywhere from 10 to 15% off of the materials that my contractors aren't doing. So nobody's getting that 10 to 15% savings that you could get. So it makes it really easy. I run everything through the Lowe's QSP program, have it shipped here on a date, and then my contractor has all the materials that he needs. So the other thing that I really like to do is break down the costs into each different thing. So my cabinet installation is $300, right? My vanity installation is $75 per vanity. Tile, $5 a square foot. Things like that. So painting is $1,500, and so that just gives me a much better place to have a conversation with my contractor around price, because a lot of people, they're going to throw 3 bids out to different contractors. They're going to take the lowest price. They may not really know what the scope is. It's not documented anywhere of what they're actually doing. Whereas in this, if I go in and one of the doors isn't replaced that I said needed to be replaced, I can say, I paid you for the $75. Either replace the door or it's going to be a $75 credit to me. So really, I'm doing a little bit of the contractor's work for them. However, it gives me a really good place to base a conversation around. And then for my next project, I know, okay, on the last project, he charged me $75 a vanity. You know, I should expect that again, or maybe it's $80, maybe it goes up a little bit, something like that. So that's kind of my philosophy of working with contractors. When I was at McKee, probably oversaw 30 to 40 different flips, and have done a ton of projects myself working with a ton of different contractors. So that's really where I found the most success in that. So if anybody has any questions on that, feel free to ask any questions. Other than that, I think one of the other things that I love doing, and I love it when people do as well, is building their own spreadsheets. So if you see, this is my cost analysis within a spreadsheet. So the one we were just looking at is within a spreadsheet that I use. If anybody wants it, I'll feel free to send it out to you guys. But just shoot me an email, acarroll@kw.com. And then I also like to put the schedule in here. So when's the start date? You know, when should these things be done by? Who's the responsible party if I'm using multiple contractors? What's my budget? Things like that. So this is my rental pro forma right here for this project, as you can see. So if you walk through, you know, these are the rents. This is my financing, how I'm getting that. It's with a community bank. It'll be a 25% leverage. And then, so my cash on this deal is about 20%. However, this is actually with me taking, that's really my return on equity. I'm taking all the cash out of it, or maybe having somewhere around $5,000 or $10,000 in it. So this is a little bit misleading. That'll actually be much higher, or infinity. And then my free cash flow amount each month is just over $700. So that's with everything kind of factored in, except for leasing. We'll do the leasing on this one, just to kind of test it out. I think it'll be kind of fun. So something I just encourage everybody to do is build their own pro forma. Use a couple people's as a base, but if somebody calls me and they're walking through the pro forma and it sounds like a number's off, then I know from my head, because I built it, where a number is probably off at. So I'll run through 3, 4, 5 things for them to check. And if the number is still that number, then I know it's probably pretty legitimate. So that's a little bit about my Fridays, a little bit on contracting, a little bit about the 3-month sprint. Again, comment on here if you're interested in joining that. I'd love to put together a group of people that are really just taking these next 3 months where there's not a ton of holidays, that really are grinding months over the next 3 months to get their goals done for the year. I would love to hear from everybody. And then I'm going to be doing another quick Facebook Live tonight to talk a little bit about one of my favorite days of the year, which is the Howard County Fair auction. So I'll be there. My little brother will be selling his animals, and as Brent likes to point out, that's where I got my start flipping things. So we buy cattle when they're young, we buy pigs when they're young, we raise them, and then we sell them. And it was one of the most incredible experiences to be connected to animals in that way, to be responsible for something. It taught me a ton growing up. So I'll give you guys a little bit of a sneak peek into the world of farming and what a auction looks like at a livestock sale. So great chatting with you guys. I'll follow up on the comments a little bit later today, but would love to hear you guys and the 3-month sprint. Talk to you soon.